Welcome, Walnut. I'm Lara, but you can call me Laz, your host for Walnut Wednesday. This is your reminder to be brave, be yourself, and know that you can make the world a better place just by what you decide today. Here, I'm going to share my weekly walnuttings with you on a Wednesday.
Good morning, Walnut. I'm just having my first sip of cough for the morning. So cheers. Bing, 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 bing. Let's have a quick little sip together. Delish. I'm coming in at you with another first thing in the morning episode. I had such strange dreams, Walnut, so I had to just come and press record straight away. Um, because what what's coming to mind this week? Um, it doesn't have anything to do with my dreams. It just has to do with no, I just woke up feeling, just strange dreams, full moon dreams. But what I wanted to talk about this week is I've noticed a lack of, I've noticed a lack of active listening in the world. And I don't know if this is due to my condition or if it's something that's always been happening. But lately, I have been getting a lot of commentary on things or opinions, lots of information overload, as you can expect, um, with a condition like mine, because so many people relate. Um, I just wanted to like talk it out a little bit. And I also think this episode is going to be a complete and utter contradiction because here I am expressing myself, yet expecting you to listen. So just know that I'm very aware that I'm being a little contradictory right now. Um but I just wanted to share a couple of examples with you, Walnut, where well look, this was sparked particularly in a workspace where I had a situation um where I basically got blamed for something and had to fix someone else's problem, which was a supplier problem. Um, and it's kind of just rubbed me the wrong way a little bit because of the way that I was spoken to. Um, and then someone else in my team of like higher air bunny quotes status had to go back and respond and say, oh, look, Lara's busy, blah, 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 just so that they could see the signature was of a higher thing. And it just irked me a little bit. I feel like in life, Walnut, we're always looking to point fingers or look for reasons and look for um, things to not, well, yeah, things to blame or things to be the center of our problem when we kind of just blindly go in and open our mouths and or react or respond in certain ways without actually like collecting ourselves and thinking about it first or reading an email chain first. Um, and yeah, so this is just sort of like a mumble jumble of a couple of different experiences that I've had while that I'm sort of struggling to kind of understand. I had an Instagram story where I kind of talked again about my body changes and things like that. And I received a couple of replies to it. And again, this is contradictory, right? Because I'm here putting myself on the internet and expecting you to listen to me. So, of course, I'm going to get responses. Um, but I think it's just sort of like a couple of the responses like and I like the engagement and I like the responses that I got in relation to this. I like this being a topic and talked about a lot, as you know, especially body image and things like that. Um, but I found myself thinking like I think the boat was missed on what I said. Um, because I wasn't asking for like, I need some love and sympathy. I was kind of just saying, this is how I feel, and I'm just letting you know that that's okay to feel that way, sort of thing. Um, but I think it's like I've noticed through this condition, Walnut, that we we all just want to be heard. Obviously, I've learned that as just being a walnut, we all want to learn to use our voice and to be heard. But I think also we want to sometimes be heard so much that we don't listen. And I know that I do this too, where sometimes you um sometimes I have conversations, Walnut, where people are literally waiting for me to I can see in their face. People are waiting for me to finish a sentence so that they can say something back about their relation to it or how their commentary on it. I I had I had a couple of things where I had to tell um, people at work about my condition, and it's a freaky sacred thing, and a couple of people I didn't really want to tell, but I had to for practicality's sake and things like that. Um, and a good handful of the responses have been the person I have told coming back to me and proceeding to tell me about their experience with their birth, their experience with their family helping out, their experience, all of their, all, just their experience. Um, you know, in saying that, well, not they have gone, how are you feeling? But the how are you feeling sort of felt like a, can you just say something so that I can say something back so that I can tell you all about myself? And I guess it's Geordie does this funny joke at me where he I'll be like having a vent or something and I'll say blah 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 blah. And Geordie will say, when? And I'll be like, oh, when the thing happened. And he says, no, no, when did I ask? And I feel so savage because but that's what it sort of feels like. And I don't know if it's because I'm tired and um potentially hormonal and the condition is bringing about this like shorter fuse, but it is sort of like the when did I ask? And it's making me sort of notice oh, a big huge spider. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It just fell in front of my face. Hope he doesn't crawl on me. I'll just hold the microphone over here and let him crawl around. Hopefully you can still hear me. Um, I've just kind of noticed people around. Oh, look, you can see him on the camera. There he is climbing up. Good morning. Um, everyone just wants their opportunity to be heard and to talk. And there seems to have been, from my observations, just with my current experiences, a lack of reading the room, reading reading the person that you're interacting with, body language, and just an all-round lack of active listening. Which I don't know what the moral of my walnutting is, walnut this week, but I think it's just I've been popped into a spot where I actually am sort of forced to listen to these things that I didn't ask to hear. Um, and it's made me sort of realize just how busy the world really is. I caught up with a really good friend of mine, and she was telling me how she's, getting into the mindfulness, she's getting into woo-woo world, and she's doing some like life coaching-y stuff. And she was talking about how at the moment she's really practicing um being present, and she's been put in a position where she is really enjoying like listening to her body and her intuition, and realized how over time um yeah, we sort of discussed how that gets lost. And I kind of was was sort of saying that it's it's interesting, right? Because you don't realize how busy the world is until you realize how busy the world is. And you can see why lots of us are not in touch with our intuition, how our body's feeling, even our menstrual cycles, all of those sort of things, because we're so bogged down by noise, and not just literal like noise in your ears, just noise, which is suffocated by social media, Netflix, like just the sound of so many cars on the road, that it's shocking when you go and have a beautiful country escape, you know? We're just so full, so full of, oh my God, what is the early morning word? I need another sip of cough. But anyway, you get what I mean, right? And yeah, she was coming to this interesting new place where she's managed to get present enough and get quiet enough to be able to listen to what her body actually wants. And I think like maybe on a human design level, a little bit sacral led as well. But yeah, it took me a long time to be able to get to a place where I can hear a no in my body and I can really enjoy a yes, um, as a sacral generator. So I guess, well, I just, what do I want to say? What do I want to say this week? I think it's just, it's, it's taught me all this commentary and this information overload that I'm getting. I feel like I'm constantly going through especially early on in my condition, I had to learn to filter out the information that was relevant because, it, oh God, the spider is back. I wonder if the spider's telling me like, shut up, you contradictical little whore. Um, where was I going with this? I feel like early on in my condition, I had a little filtration system going on where I just was getting so much for steps that are for later on. Like I was getting told what clothes to buy my little vampire. I was getting told where are good places to give birth. I was getting told all of these things that like on week freaking like 8, I I I really just want to go to sleep and not feel sick. Um, so quite early on in this process, I started to like just say thank you for sharing and filter out what I kind of needed to know, but that's kind of kept on going. And I brought that into like my workspace, into the Walnut space, into my PA space, just being like, okay, what do I need to know and what and do in action? And the rest kind of just slips out of my brain. And I fear it's gotten me into a strange pattern of filtering out additional bits and bobs, but we also need that bits and bobs. So I'm in a bit of a pickle. Um, but I think this week, Walnut, the moral of my little story is that everyone has something to say, and everyone will always have something to say. And I guess it's just that little reminder for us that in knowing that piece of information and knowing that everyone always has something to say, um, that whole you have two ears and one mouth for a reason, like, is what you were saying actually contributing to the the context that you're in, the situation you're in? Is it blending with the body language of the person that you're actually speaking to? Do you think did they ask? They ask you if you if they wanted to listen to that, or did you welcome that? Like I think there is a piece of information giving or information sharing between humanity that we have kind of lost a little bit. And maybe because everything is just at our fingertips, where we can quickly find an answer and settle a debate there in the heat of the moment. We don't have to go to the library and look at an encyclopedia and spend an hour trying to find the answer to something. But we have gotten so cluttered and noisy, and therefore our human conversation behavior has become cluttered and noisy. And I suppose it's just made me think, Walnut, if I'm actually giving any value, or if I'm just putting more like verbal air pollution in the air and filling up a space. Because there's just so much available and accessible to us, right? We've got music, we've got podcasts, we've got TV, we've got everything running in the background. That so much so that when it's dead quiet, it's shocking. So yeah, this is kind of just like profound little revelations, me talking at you and you didn't ask. So thanks for listening. And also sounding a bit ungrateful for like the information I have been getting, but I just wanted to share this sort of perspective, Walnut, because I know that you probably are relating and feel the same way as well. So this week, in particular, Walnut, I would encourage us, me as well as you, to just take that moment to pause before we before we so lovingly, because lots of the things I have been getting have been coming from very loving places, but before we so lovingly give the information, does the information want to be received? Does the context or the situation or the thing warrant my sacred information to be shared? Like, why don't we treat our voices as very special and very sacred? Um, you know, it's that whole thing, like, just because I'm not loud doesn't mean I don't have anything important to say. Like, really, I don't know. For me, especially this week, Walnut, I'm looking at my value add or catching myself out when I'm talking for talking's sake. Because I've learned this week from multiple experiences that everyone will always have something to say. Yeah, everyone has something to say. That's kind of all. So I hope this kind of makes sense, Walnut. Um, I would love to know your take on this and if you've received an influx of information about particular things or circumstances. If you've been in the same condition as me, how did you deal with the filtration system that is? And with receive with love, but also without overloading your little brain, because I feel like that's quite hard, and it's shining through in all the other areas, like with the body stuff and things like that. I find myself trying to explain myself all the time, where sometimes I just really don't need to, and I can just sit back and I don't need to open my mouth to explain myself. Um, so yeah, I think we just all have a little bit of responsibility in terms of what goes out into the world, into people's ears, out of our mouths. We all have a little part to play in that. And I don't think we as humans really think about it too deeply that often. So this is just an opportunity for us to do that and just to think about it this week. So if you have any magical revelations, I would really love to know. And the Walnut Tree is my free group on Facebook if you want to join, and if you want a space where you can plonk your voice invitedly, will open invitation to you to share anything on the wall inside the Walnut Tree. If you have some profound divine thoughts, much like this podcast, that is just my thoughts and feelings swirling around out on the internet, and hoping that you pick up some little pieces along the way. So have a happy Walnut Wednesday. I'd love to know what you discover this week. And I will talk to you next week.